Welcome to the RES IT Store tutorial on Smart Rules, number 6070. A Smart Rule is a set of criteria that can be used in the workflow action of a service to determine the actor to whom the action applies at the moment the service is delivered or canceled. You can configure three types of Smart Rules. Smart Rules based on list of people allows the RES IT Store to pick an actor from a list of people. Smart Rules based on manager of subscriber allows the RES IT Store Smart Rule to determine the manager of the subscriber and select it as an actor. Smart Rules based on people related to subscriber allows the RES IT Store Smart Rule to determine which persons are related to the subscriber and select one as an actor. In this tutorial, we will configure a Smart Rule that picks a person from a list of people, then one that determines the manager of the subscriber to the service, and finally a Smart Rule that picks a person related to the subscriber. Configuring a Smart Rule that picks a person from a list of people. Log into your Windows virtual machine with username resdemo/administrator and the RES password. In the console, click Data Model Smart Rules. This opens the Smart Rules window. Click Add. This opens the Select Smart Rule Type window. Select List of People and click OK. This opens the List of People window. On the Properties tab, use the Name field to specify the name of the Smart Rule, in this case List. Use the Add, Edit, and Remove buttons to specify people and/or organizational context items in the list. Use the Not button to exclude a person and/or organizational context items. By selecting the Not button, we exclude the user from the list. On the Diagnostics tab, we can preview the resulting list. Let's clear the user list now and look at other options on building a list. If you add multiple persons, an OR criterion will be added automatically because a person can never be another person as well. If you add the persons Amy Almeida, Greg Alderson, and Simon Rapier, the rule applies if a person is either Amy Almeida or Greg Alderson or Simon Rapier. If you specify multiple organizational context items, people must be classified in all organizational context items before the rule applies. Let's select Marketing from Departments and Boston from Locations. On the Diag tab, we see the result is Amy Almeida and John Smith, since they are members of both the Boston office and in the marketing department. With the OR button, you can specify that people only need to be classified in one organizational context item. Returning to the Property tab, we can change the behavior of the Smart Rule by inserting an OR between the two criteria. Returning to the Diagnostics tab, we now see additional users in the list. These are members of either HR or the Boston location. You can also use the arrow buttons to create groups of criteria. Click the Diagnostics tab. This tab gives a preview of the people in your RES environment that match the rule. Click OK to save the Smart Rule. This opens the Smart Rules window again. Click Close. Configuring a Smart Rule that determines the manager of the subscriber to the service. For this type of Smart Rule, you need a people attribute Windows User Account of Manager. If this attribute didn't exist yet in your RES IT Store environment, you would need to configure it first at Data Model People Attributes. Select Data Model, Smart Rules. In the Smart Rules window, click Add. This opens the Select Smart Rule Type window. Select Manager of Subscriber and click OK. On the Properties tab, use the Name field to specify the name of the Smart Rule, in this case Manager. In the Lookup Manager On field, specify the people identifier that is used to uniquely identify people in your RES IT Store, in this case the Windows User Account. In the Using this attribute of subscriber field, specify the person attribute that holds information about the manager of the subscriber. RES IT Store determines the manager of the subscriber by matching the specified people identifier with the specified people attribute. So for example, Windows User Account of Manager. Click the Diagnostics tab. This tab gives a preview of the people in your RES environment that match the rule. In the subscriber field, select the person for which a manager should be found. Let's select Amy and click the Preview button to see the result of our Smart Rule. Now let's verify that this is correct. If we close the Smart Rules dialog and go to the People section and open Amy Almeida's properties, we see on the Attributes tab, the window account of her manager is in fact John Smith. Click the Preview button to view which people match the rule. Click OK to save the Smart Rule. This opens the Smart Rules window again. Configuring a Smart Rule that picks a person related to the subscriber. In the Smart Rules window, click Add. This opens the People Related to Subscriber window. On the Properties tab, use the Name field to specify the name of the SMART rule, in this case, Related to Subscriber. In the Lookup Related People On field, specify the organizational context item in which the RES IT store should search for people related to the subscriber. Select Direct Relationship to include people who are classified in the same organizational context as the subscriber. Let's select Locations from our org context. Select the Diagnostics tab and select Amy. Select the Preview tab to see the resulting set that includes all other IT store people that have the same location as Amy, which is the Boston office. Select Hierarchical Relationship to include people in an organizational context item above the organizational context item in which the subscriber is classified. Let's change our criteria to departments. Ensure that the sub-items checkbox is checked. Select the Diagnostics tab and a new user, Garrett. Garrett is a member of the Sales SMB team. Both Greg and Simon are also in sales, but categorized higher in the sales organization. If you select Direct Relationship and Hierarchical Relationship, the RES IT store will first try to find related people with a direct relationship. If no match can be found, it will try to find related people higher in the hierarchy. Optionally, select Use Additional Criteria to apply additional restrictive criteria. You can configure these criteria on the Additional Criteria tab. On the Additional Criteria tab, specify additional criteria to which a person must comply. Additional criteria will only be used if you have selected the option Additional Criteria on the Properties tab. Use the Add, Edit, and Remove buttons to specify additional organizational context items. When selecting an organizational context item, you can include sub-items. Organizational context items that include sub-items appear with a \* in the list. With the Not button, you can exclude specific organizational context items. If you specify multiple organizational context items, people must be classified in all organizational context items before the rule applies. With the Or button, you can specify that people only need to be classified in one organizational context item. You can also use the arrow buttons to create groups of criteria.